Coming to you live at the GAMA Trade Show at the Peppermill Resort and Casino in Reno, Nevada, Twist Gaming! Now take it away, Matt. Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome. This is Twist Gaming, and I'm Matt. We are here live at GAMA 2019, bringing you all the board game coverage all week long. And right now, I am joined with Evan from Ryder Games. Evan,
thank you so much for having us.
It's always a pleasure. But first, how's GAMA treating you so far?
Pretty good. This is actually my first GAMA.
Is it really?
Yes. So my partner came last year, but now I got to come this year because I'm special.
Enjoy sunny Reno, Nevada, right?
That's right. Sunny and cold.
Yeah, it's chilly.
It was like 60 degrees when we got on the plane in Nashville, and then when we got off here, it was not 60 degrees. It was much fewer degrees.
It was much fewer. I'm from Florida, so.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Have you been out in the pool?
I have, actually.
Is it heated?
It
looks
is.
heated.
I wouldn't have been out in the pool if it wasn't heated. But so let's just jump right into things here. We got a chance to show this game off at PAX Unplugged, I believe, correct?
Yes. So this is the Crusoe Crew. This is a cooperative game in our graphic novel adventure line. And for those of you who don't know or haven't watched this before or haven't heard, graphic novel adventures are kind of like choose your own adventures that are comic books. And this is a cooperative version of that, which actually comes with 4 books. Mm-hmm. And everybody's playing a different character, but you're all reading through it together at the same time.
All right, and each character is going to have their own different responsibilities and powers and such, if I remember correctly.
That is correct. So for example, I've just got 2 books right here, and the map that kind of gets you started. And in this is Netta. And Netta is particularly good. By the way, it's called the Crusoe Crew. The idea is that you're the children of Robinson Crusoe.
Oh,
and Robinson Crusoe has fallen sick, and it has fallen upon his children to go do his treasure hunting for him. And so this is your first outing as, treasure hunters.
Right.
And so in this book, this is Netta. And Netta is very good, and he's very agile and very tall. Mm-hmm. So if we open up here to this page, can we see that?
Yeah.
So, right here, you can kind of see there are hidden numbers in the panels that you can. Let
me see if I can zoom in a little bit more on that.
Yeah. So, for example, here, you can see over here, you could turn to panel 190 to talk to your sick dad. But Netta, because he's really tall, right here on the cookie jar, there's a secret number. If you can't see it, it's actually 199.
Okay.
And only Netta can see that. So if he wants to go tap into the cookie jar, he would turn to panel 199.
Now, what do you mean by only Netta can see that? So all of these characters are going to have similar books? Or
yes.
They're going to have...
Around 70% of the panels are the same, but the rest are different.
Okay, but so what you're saying is that won't exist in the other players' books.
Correct. So I'll actually show you. This is Sarah, and Sarah is good at talking to animals. But you see, Sarah doesn't have a number on top of the cookie jar.
Look at that. So you really do have to be cooperative with this.
But Sarah, because she's good at talking to animals, she can go over and speak to her cat down here in 185.
Oh,
and only she can see that. So as you're exploring the island and hunting for treasure and stuff, everybody will be turning, and they'll all see similar things, but it's incumbent upon each player to be hunting and spotting for certain things that only they can see. Right. Sometimes there'll be clues to how a puzzle can be solved. Sometimes it'll be a shortcut or an alternate route. And sometimes they'll just find a treasure that no one else can see. And the game plays 1 to 4 players, so you can actually play it by yourself, but you can... play as one of any 4 characters, and if you're playing 2 players, maybe you play as Kik and Gabby in one playthrough, but maybe you play as Netta and Sarah in another playthrough, which actually provides a significant amount of replayability. So
when you're playing in 1-player variant, you're playing with 2 of the 4 characters, not all of them?
You would just pick one.
Oh, you just pick one.
Pick one book,
okay.
Yep.
And you're able to complete the story with only one perspective, but you're going to get different results, I'm assuming, when you start adding in the different perspectives, the different abilities of the different characters?
Yeah, some puzzles might be more challenging if you're by yourself, and there might even be certain sections or areas of the island that you won't be able to get to if you're a specific character. But that'll give you an opportunity to play through as a different character, which then you might see, oh, I couldn't go down that pathway before because I was too short,
right.
But now that I'm playing Netta, I can climb up it and see what's on the other side.
Very cool. So the action within this here, when we're playing with a group of 4 people, is this all happening simultaneously? Are we going through methodically panel by panel here?
It's happening simultaneously, and the book they're set up to kind of encourage you to almost role play it a little bit, rather than saying opening up and saying, "Oh, I see panel 132. Do you guys see 132? Can anybody turn to 132?" You say, "Oh, I think I can talk to this parrot. Do you guys think I should talk to the parrot?"
Okay.
I remember we were playing through when we were kind of going through and checking all the puzzles and the connections and things. I was playing with my partner, AJ, and our other friend and employee, Sean. And I was Kick, and Kick is particularly good at blowing things up and destroying things. He has like dynamite striped to his back and a big hammer. And we got to this puzzle, and I was like, ooh, I think I can break the wall down. And I was like, I want to break the wall down. And they wouldn't let me. They're like, no, let's solve the puzzle normally, Evan, and not let you destroy things. I was like, no, I'm going to destroy it. And they're like, no, don't do it. And so I ended up turning to the panel, and I was like, oh, well, I kind of destroyed everything, guys, and now we have to go back. So my bad.
Oh, goodness.
So it really encourages you kind of interact that way and talk through the situations and what your abilities are and stuff. And that makes it a lot more engaging.
Very cool. And though I know that the choose your own adventure style has been becoming more and more popular, but this cooperative version of it is pretty fresh take. I think that's really neat.
I don't think anything else like this. I know a lot of people say that, nothing else like this exists on the market.
Right.
But in this case, I really don't think there's anything else like this out there.
Right.
This is an absolute one-of-a-kind experience, and it's super cool. It's super engaging, and the puzzles are significant. They're actually pretty challenging. So even though the aesthetic is much more geared towards kids and families, and it's great for kids and families, I played it with my kids, and they had a blast. A bunch of adults. I played with adults who have sat around and like looked at a puzzle and can't figure it. So it is quite challenging.
There's no gimmies in it.
No, there's no gimmies in this one.
Very cool. So what is the typical, I don't want to say playtime, but to get through and complete a story with a group of people?
So how it works is there's 3 different kinds of treasures. There's pearls, rubies, and statuettes. And their statuettes are much more harder to find, but they're more valuable, and the pearls are very easy to find, but they're much less valuable.
Right.
And before you go through your adventure, you choose collectively which treasure you're going to be going for. But there's also a timing mechanism in the book. There's like a little sun icon on top of some of the pages, and if you kind of go straight down a path you shouldn't be on, or you take longer to solve a puzzle, time will speed up for you. And once you've hit 5 days, the book kind of kicks you out. It's like your time is done.
Okay.
And at that point, you check how many treasures you've gotten, you've collected, you've discovered, and that tabulates your score.
Okay, so it's a scoring system like that then. So your solo play is going to be you trying to beat your own score.
Sure. Yes. Absolutely.
Very cool. So the 4 characters here, you talked briefly. We've got the one that blows stuff up. We've got the one that
he blows stuff up. He's my favorite. He's got a big hammer and he loves smashing things.
I was going to ask which one of these is your spirit animal, but I think I saw when you're talking about blowing up the puzzle already.
Kick's fun because he's very destructive. I actually probably like Gabby. She gets hints for the puzzles, and one of the most fun things in these books is the feeling of satisfaction when you really crack one of the difficult puzzles. And so Gabby oftentimes will get hints or clues that will make it easier for you to solve puzzles. So I actually kind of probably prefer Gabby a little bit to Kick.
Okay. And then this one here is...
That's Gabby.
Oh, that's Gabby. I'm sorry.
She's the one who's really good at solving puzzles.
So she's the brains of the outfit.
Yes,
then.
she's the brains of the outfit. And some puzzles, she's the only one who can solve them.
Oh, really?
So some puzzles you won't even be able to access unless you're playing as her.
Very cool.
Sarah is really good at talking to animals. I've discovered when I've played with my kids and other kids that Sarah is the favorite of the children because they get to talk to the animals and the parrots and the monkeys and stuff. And then Netta's actually really good at going off on his own and exploring. So oftentimes when you're playing him, it'll send you off on your own adventure while everybody else continues to explore other parts of the island. Netta will be off by himself doing something completely different.
Very cool. So how many different pathways, or what's the replayability that we're looking on there?
So probably the replayability is there's probably around 8 to 10 hours of really solid gameplay in here.
That's awesome.
So depending on which characters you pick, there are 2 you know what? I don't want to spoil how many paths there are. So there's this great map here that you start off on, and you're given instructions for where you need to go, but you can explore any of these islands. And some of them are going to lead to dead ends, and some of them won't. So you are not going to see everything in one playthrough, not even close, especially if you're playing with less than 4 people.
Right.
And you will, even if you come across similar puzzles in a later playthrough, if you're playing as a different character, there could be a completely different way to solve it, or a completely different way to go around it, or shortcut it, or all kinds of stuff.
Very cool. So where can our viewers go to find more information or get their hands on a copy of the Crusoe Crew?
So the Crusoe Crew is on the boat and will be available in June. Right now, you can go to www.vanrydergames.com. That's VANRYDER games.com, and you can find out more information there. You can probably start to pre-order it through your friendly local game store. And yeah, that's where you can find it right now.
Fantastic. So what else is going on with Van Ryder Games?
So we also have a Kickstarter, because everybody's got a Kickstarter. Have you heard about my Kickstarter?
Not yet. Tell me about your Kickstarter.
I would be happy to, Matt. So our Kickstarter right now is Season 2 of our graphic novel adventure books.
Oh, yes.
So this is our graphic novel adventure cooperative game.
Right.
But we've got Season 2 of our books.
So Season 1, you had some Sherlock Holmes in there, right?
That's correct. There was one Sherlock Holmes book in Season 1.
There was a horror one, if I remember correctly. Yes. What other... I believe there was like a Japanese one as well, I want to say. What other titles were in there? I know I'm missing one.
One was Captive, which was much more grown up, and your daughter had been kidnapped by these creepy cultists.
Right.
You're right. There were Tears of the Goddess, which was kind of like this fantasy Asian setting where you were a bounty hunter. There was Sherlock Holmes for investigations. There was Loup Garou.
That's right. Yeah.
Which is the werewolf and RPG one. And then there is Your Town, which is where it's a Western and you're building your own thing.
And that's the one that had the most... I want to say legacy elements to it, where you're writing in the book itself.
Your Town kind of sits to... Many of the other books are like adventures or stories, and you have a character sheet and attributes and that kind of stuff. But Your Town was very much, you had a map and you were actually doing city planning.
Right.
And you could choose which buildings to buy. You had income to manage, population. So it was a very different experience. It's really neat, but it's wildly different from the other books.
Very cool. So Season 2.
So
what
this
are
is
we
Season
looking
2. And these are except for mystery right here, if you're looking at it, you might notice that some of them appear to be in French. It's because they are. But our versions, of course, will all be in English. The mystery is a superhero one, in which you are a novice superhero wanting to join a Justice League type thing called the League of Champions.
Okay.
And you start out on the ground floor, and you get trained little by little, and you can choose whether you are fabulously rich as a superhero attribute, or whether you can fly, or whether you have super strength, and those kinds of things. There are 2 new Sherlock books.
Awesome.
Sherlock Holmes and Moriarty. And in the original Sherlock Holmes 4 investigations, you could choose to play an investigation as either Sherlock or as Watson.
Right.
In this one, you can choose to play Sherlock, Watson, or Moriarty.
Oh, so you take the bad guy approach to this
Yes,
one,
and what's really fun playing as Moriarty is that when you're questioning suspects, you can choose to threaten them. Like pull out your sword and stick it in their face, and they won't answer any questions after that, but oftentimes they'll give you a unique piece of information that only Moriarty himself can extract from them.
Very cool.
And then Sherlock Holmes and Irene Adler is actually a 2-player graphic novel adventure where one of you basically trade the book back and forth. One of you is Sherlock and one of you is Irene, and you see who does a better job of solving the cases.
So it's a competitive version?
It can be played by yourself. It can be played one player just like everything else. But there's the option to play as 2 players, in which one of you takes the role of Sherlock, one of you takes Irene, one of you reads through the story, marks who you think it is, you pass the book to the other person or trade, they read through the story, and then you compare your scores.
Very cool.
And then finally we have 2 which are in the Pirates, the world of Pirates, which it looks similar, but it's actually very different from the Crusoe crew.
Mm-hmm.
There's the first Pirates book, which is actually going to be called Pirates: The Great Chase, in which you have been tasked by your pirate captain to hunt down a fugitive who has jumped off the boat and is swimming to this island. And of course, as you chase him onto the island, you discover all kinds of creepy stuff like monkeys that want to eat you and all kinds of other stuff as you're hunting for this fugitive. And then the second Pirates book is called Pirates in the City of Skulls, which actually kind of continues the story in the first one. In which
so Volume 1, Volume 2.
They can be played independent.
Okay.
But they do kind of continue one from the other.
Gotcha.
So there's a joining story.
So what are the age ranges that we're looking at here for the books? Because I know with the Volume 1 of these, essentially,
some of them were a little grown up.
Some of them were more grown up. Some of them were more family friendly. So are we still looking at that here, where some are more, I don't want to say adult oriented, but mature?
So these all are perfect for, I loved reading all of these myself. None of them skew particularly like kiddie.
Mm-hmm.
However, they are all family appropriate.
Gotcha.
So I think once a child has a rudimentary reading level, like my 7-year-olds read all these. So they're perfect for that.
And you said this is going to Kickstarter?
This is on Kickstarter right now.
Okay.
Graphic Novel Adventures Season 2.
How much longer on Kickstarter? I know I'm going to throw you
2 weeks.
Okay.
I think. Time gets all fuzzy at GAMA. I'm not exactly sure what day it is.
I mean, that's the point of the casinos. The times tend to stand still for you.
Worst.
Yeah.
It's like a maze down there.
Oh,
they designed this place so that you can't find anything, and then you just say,
I guess I'll spend my money.
Screw it. I'll just sit at this video poker machine and play video poker because I can't do anything else. I think it's about 2 more weeks.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Anything else from Van Ryder you want to talk about today?
I mean, we've got all kinds of cool. So
I know you're busy.
Yeah, we've got our next game in the Hostage Negotiator line, which is our award-winning, best-selling solo-only game.
Okay.
That is coming April 30th. It's called Hostage Negotiator Career.
So that's right around the corner.
Yeah, it is. It's called Hostage Negotiator Career, and it combines, it takes all of our previous content and turns it into a campaign.
Oh, that's awesome.
It's really cool. So AJ is the designer, and he has done a fantastic job of taking all the stuff that you probably already own with Hostage Negotiator and turning it into a completely new experience.
So do you have to have all of the previous iterations?
You do.
Okay.
You do. You need to have a lot of it. So it's definitely a game for people who love Hostage Negotiator. It is not an entry point in any way, shape, or form. However, when we launch the Kickstarter, you will be able to get the whole kit and caboodle.
Of course.
For those of you out there that might be completionists, I know there aren't many.
There's a few of those in the board game industry, right?
You'll be able to get the whole package. So that's coming up April 30th.
Fantastic. Evan, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you so much for having me.
And thank all of you for watching at home. Make sure you stay tuned for all the coverage here from GAMA 2019. Signing off for now, though, I'm Matt. Have a good one, everyone.